Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the troublesome reign of King John, and we get to hear from King John today in Act 1, Scene 13. At the beginning of this scene, he decided that he needed to be recoronated to sort of re-up everybody's loyalty to him and prove once again and for all that he is the rightful king of England. So with a little bit of pushback, that happens. They recoronate him and he's like, this is great, and now I know that you're all faithful to me. So in return for that, I will grant you whatever it is that you want. And the nobles, like Essex and Pembroke and all of them, they're like, you know what? It'd be really great if you let Arthur go. That would be the best thing to do in this situation. And John is almost considering it, but before he can answer, he notices that the bastard is looking at something, and the bastard's like, there's 5 moons in the sky. What is this about? So the king is like, well, now's the time to bring in that prophet guy that you had found, and he can tell us what these 5 moons mean. So the bastard brings in Peter, who says that the 5 moons are 5 countries, and 4 of those countries are still in line with the sky, the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church, all of that. But the smallest one represents England, which is going against the church. And John is like, well, this is a good thing, right? Like, this is the heavens praising me for going against the church. And Peter's like, you know, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, there's no qualifications to it. It's just the sky is Rome and these planets are these 5 countries. But I can tell you, because I am a prophet and I can predict things, I can tell you that by Ascension Day you will be deposed and you will lose your crown. And King John says, false dreamer, perish with thy witched news. Villain, thou woundst me with thy fallacies. If it be true, die for thy tidings' price. If false, for fearing me with vain suppose. Hence with the witch, hell's damned secretary. Lock him up, sure, for by my faith I swear, true or not true, the wizard shall not live. Before Ascension Day, who should be cause hereof? Cut off the cause, and then the effect will die. Tut, my mercy serves to maim myself. The root doth live from whence these thorns spring up. I and my promise passed for his delivery. Frown, friends, fail faith, the devil go withal. The brat shall die that terrifies me thus. Pembroke and Essex, I recall my grant. I will not buy your favors with my fear. Nay, murmur not. My will is law enough. I love you well, but if I loved you better, I would not buy it with my discontent. How now? What news with thee? So at the very end there, that's Hubert entering. But before we get to that, this is John sort of flying off the handle at the insinuation that he is going to be deposed and lose the crown. And the first thing that he does is he tells them to take Peter away and kill him. Because if the prediction that he will lose his crown is true, then he wants the prophet to die also for having told him that. And if it's false, he wants the prophet to die for having scared him. So he's like, no, take him, lock him up. He needs to die. And then he's like, who's going to kill me before Ascension Day? We need to figure that out, because if we just get rid of that person, then I'm going to be fine. And then he finally turns to the nobles to whom he had promised to do something good. And he's like, you know what? I take back my offer. Like, no, I'm not going to buy your loyalty with my own sense of comfort. Like, never mind. I'm not giving you anything that you had asked for. And then Hubert enters at the very end and he says, you know, hi, Hubert, how's it going? What's the news? What's the haps? And Hubert says that Arthur's eyes have been put out per the king's request, which, remember, they weren't. Hubert and Arthur had that lovely scene, and Hubert decided to let Arthur go, but they were going to tell King John that he had followed through on it, and then also that Arthur had died, so that Arthur could escape in peace and go live a happy life somewhere else. So Hubert comes in here in this scene and tells that lie to King John, saying that Arthur's eyes have been put out. So King John's like, oh, he can feel the crown, but he'll never see it. And Hubert's like, well, actually, no, because the pain of having his eyes cut out caused him to die like within an hour. And John's like, he's dead? that's great. Then I don't have to worry about anything. And the nobles are mortified by that statement. And Essex is like, you know, King John, this is not good news. This is a bad thing that you let Arthur die, that you let him be tortured first and mutilated first, and then that he died on your watch. Like, this is not how you should be behaving. This is not how royalty should treat others, and especially family members. Like, this is not okay. We are not on your side anymore. And all the nobles leave, and John is going to have a monologue as they are off stage. He's still going to be yelling at them, but he's going to have a monologue that we will get to hear tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Mwah.